Matinee MacK, baby. Welcome into the DNVR Avalanche post-game show live from the Toyota Lounge, the Winners Lounge, powered by your Front Range Toyota dealerships and presented by Bet365. The Avs win their first matinee of the season 3-1 over the Buffalo Sabres. Get back into the win column. They're 3-0-1 on the season. I don't know if it was the funnest game of all time, but what's not to love?
There were not many things that I did not like in this game. I will put it to you that way.
Yep.
I feel like the first thing I kind of want to touch on, Matinee.
Let's go. Another multi-point night from him.
Moly. I mean, I know there's the contract year superstition and the
whatever he's doing is working for sure.
Yeah, he looks incredible so far through 4.
Fully agree. It's 8 points in 4 games now for him. Could have been 9 if that last goal counted. But stay on side, Marty. We'll get into all the players. We'll break it all down for you. Let's start with a 60-second rundown of the hockey game. We had a first period that, frankly, the Avs started slowly in. I don't think there's any other way around that, which you didn't love. But Nathan Mackinnon doesn't care about slow starts. Gets the Avs on the board first with a nasty play. They're up 1-0. They do ultimately relinquish a goal back on a bit of a rough clear in their own zone that a C&I shot kind of finds its way past Wedgwood. But that would be the only goal Wedgie gives up. Second period started a similar story. Maybe started a little bit slow, but a goal sparks the Avs. Val Nichushkin makes a great read to create an offensive opportunity that ends up finishing on Cale Makar's stick. That would end up being the game winner, and from there, honestly, the Avs kind of took over the game. The second period was a bit low event, but the Avs did a better job of being involved in the play, and then, frankly, they dominated in the third. Buffalo struggled to even try and mount a comeback. The Avs got the better of possession and locked up this game with ease, and now the Avs are sitting at 3-0-1 because of it. Good stuff. Fit it in the minute. Not even bad for us. Let's start here. We'll go a little bit chronologically until we inevitably fall off into different tangents, but we can start there. First period. It's on the road. It's a weird matinee game. There's a lot of context here that I'm more okay with it. It's not anything I really want to bash them for or anything, but you did get outshot, especially at 5-on-5, pretty handily. The Avs really didn't generate a whole lot in that first. I don't know that I'm going to call it a problem, but it's something you need to not make a habit of.
If there is one bad thing to take away from this game, it was puck management in the defensive zone.
For sure.
They allowed more chances than I was comfortable with, and I will say if that's the biggest problem that they have right now, I mean, yes, it's something you want to curb, but I think there are worse things to be bad at.
Yep.
And if that's the only thing you have to fix, I'm perfectly fine with that. Focus in on that, hone in what you guys know you're already good at, and that's it for me.
Yep. This is a game in which, regardless of how you felt the Avs played, which at times it could range anywhere from poor to really good, and they never trailed for a single second of this hockey game.
That is also a plus,
yeah,
I would say.
You can't lose if you're never losing.
Is that how that works?
It's actually kind of not true, but, you know, shootouts and things exist.
Yeah, I guess there's that to go off.
But in this case, the Avs so far this year have done a really good job of making their lows not actually all that low.
Yes.
Even in the Dallas game where they fell behind at times, they were never behind by more than a goal.
No.
And really, mechanically, they played super good in that game, so I don't even want to nitpick that one too well. This one, there were some slow periods, and they ultimately didn't matter. You credit a lot of things there, whether it's good play by Wedgwood. The Avs blocked a ton of shots across the course of this game. The puck management wasn't great, but the reality of hockey is you're not going to bring your A game in every facet of the game every night. So you find ways to make it work. You find ways to be effective, even if, okay, we're not breaking the puck out super well. That means we need shifts from our fourth line where they work hard to get that second opportunity and get it out the next time.
And that's something I mentioned to you during our watch along too, which if your fourth line is just fine, I mean, that's all you can really ask from those fourth line guys is to maybe show up here and there. Okay, cool. They had an incredible game. I loved Parker Kelly through and through in this game. I thought Yoel Kiviranta had a few good moments. Gavin Brindley. We mentioned him in pregame. I want to mention him again.
Can't get rid of him. Yep.
He was everywhere tonight. Such a pest, which again, if that's what you're getting out of that fourth line, this Avs team just became that much more dangerous.
Yeah, it's consistent effort, and we'll get to the second line in a little bit because I do want to talk about that line, and I think there's a number of interesting conversations there. But you look top to bottom tonight, and the possession numbers aren't going to look good because of what happened in the first half of this game, the whole first period, I'd say about half the second period. But me being as heavy into analytics as I am, there's a reason that you also have the eye test too. You have to put it all together into one big picture. And the fact is, Buffalo possessed the puck a lot. And I do think in the first period, the Avs were probably too fast and loose. You mentioned it, that's where their puck management directly came back to bite them with their only goal against, but just in general. But you look at the rest of the game, and while their puck management wasn't amazing, what they were giving up was pretty limited to mostly low danger opportunities. When they did make those mistakes, I mean, you could count half a dozen guys that on different plays did a great job of back checking. Off the top of my head, Taves had a great one, Makar had a great one, Malinsky had a really, really good one in the third period that what felt like maybe ended up being breakaways for a team like Dallas the other night are your defense getting back and making a play on a night like this one.
No, that's absolutely them recovering. And I will say that I think is the plus from Saturday night is with those given up opportunities, they were really quick to recover. And sure, you're not getting as opportunistic of a team in Buffalo as Dallas might have been, but you're still kind of covering most, if not all, of your holes this time around. And I think that's, again, it's growth. It's something that is definitely one of my positive takeaways from here tonight.
Yeah, I actually feel like most of the lineup by the end of the night had taken a step forward in the right direction. Even the second line, again, we'll get to them in a little bit, but.
And that's something I was a little worried about coming off of such a good game in Dallas is them kind of letting off the gas a little bit.
For sure.
And they did in some respective rights in the first period. But I think by the end of the game, they looked phenomenal.
They got where they needed to be,
right.
For sure.
Absolutely.
Got there. Through all of that, it's nice to cover a team that has high-end talent.
Yeah.
Because, the first period, I'm not going to sit here and tell you it was good, but also Nathan MacKinnon's pretty good.
He's kind of good at hockey.
Shows up and gets the Avs on the board, with a play that's just him being better than everybody else. There's not a whole lot of break it down. It's just watch Nathan MacKinnon work.
Yeah. No, it's you watch him work with a narrow window, backhanded in. I mean, it doesn't get much better than that.
Nope.
From Nathan MacKinnon. And that is why he is one of the best players in the league, because you can work in space like that.
Let's get this conversation out of the way, because this was present throughout the entire game. The Avs do not score a power play goal tonight. Look, at the end of the day, they went 0 for 5. The numbers are what they are there. Even that, I struggle to feel bad about. It's another night where you felt like they had good power plays at times. I'm in love with what the first unit is doing with Nathan MacKinnon moving all over the ice, Marty Necas' movement. And even the second unit looks significantly better tonight.
I thought so too. And it is one of those situations, I mean, we talk about it in pregame, where when do you start to have that conversation where this looks good, but how does it become, how do you take that next step? Because the whole point of the power play, you want to get on the board.
Yep.
you take advantage of that man advantage and put your team up. That very simply is not happening.
It is not.
So the question does need to be asked. They've got great opportunities. You saw the second unit take that extra step.
Yep.
I thought when Nelson was out for that little period with the slice to his hand that Olofsson did not look bad on that first unit.
I agree.
The question then becomes, how do you convert those opportunities?
They have to go in the back of the net eventually. It is what it is on that front. I do think, if I'm nitpicking, which I'm so good at nitpicking, it's the one thing I do well. First unit has great movement, both the puck and the people. I think they're still a little bit too apprehensive on the shooting.
Yeah, I would agree.
You can move the puck all over the world, but if you take a minute and a half to shoot the puck, that one shot better go in the net, or else you've used all your time for nothing.
Which, given how poor the Avalanche were at both of those things to end the season last year, to improve one of them, I think speaks volumes.
True.
And now they do, like, again, you're not going to see those stats coming through when you look at, teams across the league, but that movement looks phenomenal. It comes down to, I think, puck luck at this point, and maybe a finishing problem.
Yeah, it's also still game 4. Power plays are streaky things. If we get to game 10 and the Avs have 3 power play goals on 60 chances, we've got a problem.
Yeah.
But if they score 4 power play goals in the next 3 games, who cares?
It becomes a non-issue at that point.
Exactly. So I'm still not trying to read too much into it. You can't. Obviously, you have what you have to work with. You have 4 games, as we're going to talk about. There is more urgency in some things than others in a 4-game situation of stats to take from, but you don't want to over dive into those things, especially on a night like tonight where you're going to look at the possession numbers and you go, wow, this isn't very good.
I feel like there are other things to focus on.
Yep.
In that regard.
For sure look at other factors. I'll put it to you that way, including the Avs penalty kill being fantastic once again.
Yeah.
Not just the saying goes, show me a good goaltender, I'll show you a good penalty kill. And while that's true, the Avs penalty kill did a fantastic job, especially the early PKs they had in this game. They gave up nothing. Genuinely, Buffalo didn't even look threatening on most of their power plays tonight.
And what I was really surprised by, too, you see Jack Drury go to the box early, which I didn't love because, again, that's arguably your best PK guy out there.
Certainly the guy you want taking the face-offs.
Right, absolutely, or at least a guy who plays a big factor in those. I think that was a non-issue for them in this game.
Straight up.
Yes, Jack Drury comes back and the PK maybe looks a little better, but it was a shutdown situation, which is exactly what you want.
Yep. And you have a rotation that the Avs have enough guys that can PK, certainly at least on the forward side, where you don't worry too much about that. Okay, Jack Drury's not there. Well, we have Nelson. Well, we have Lehkonen. Well, we have Kiviranta. Colton can PK if you need to. Lehkonen PK'd some tonight. Nichushkin can PK if you need to. They seem to be shying away from using Landeskog on that side, probably just to manage minutes, but
I don't mind that.
Obviously, Kelly and the bottom 6 guys, pretty much everyone outside of Brindley can PK if you want them to. I guess not Olofsson.
And if you're looking at a special teams battle specifically, yeah, sure, nothing got on the board today with each of the man advantage units. Avalanche absolutely win this special teams battle tonight by a mile.
To be honest, I'm not even worried about winning the special. I mean, I want them to win the special teams battle, of course, but when you're the better team, when you're going up against a team, you're the Avalanche and Buffalo. I think anyone who watches hockey would agree the Avs are the better team on paper. You just need to not lose special teams.
Yeah.
You'll get more value out of 5-on-5 against a team like Buffalo most nights. And if special teams don't cost you, it's good enough.
Right.
So
no, I would agree.
Avs did that. They kept the special teams battle even on the scoreboard at the very least, and their opportunities didn't go in. If you want to give them the dub in the spiritual win or whatever,
a finishing issue at that point, and that's something that you can kind of workshop during practices, things of that sort. It'll come eventually. This is one of those situations. If they continue to play the way that they are, something is bound to go in eventually. Like the puck cannot avoid the net forever.
Another one that fits the curve of how I feel like the Avs played better as the game went on. Their last power plays were genuinely good. They just missed the net or couldn't quite connect. The one-timer rolls off the stick.
Yep.
The setup was there. It's just the finish. We do need to take our first break of the show as we are brought to you by Game Time today. Make sure you get with Game Time if you want your tickets. That Buffalo Stadium seemed like it could use a couple of more tickets sold.
There's a little bit more blue than I'm sure they wanted to see.
Put it to you that way. So get your tickets through Game Time. I bet you could have got cheap seats to that one, but you can get your tickets to whatever, whether it's the next Avalanche home game, the Broncos coming back to town from London, Nuggets games are kicking off pretty soon, you name it. You can get it all through Game Time. Make sure you're using their Game Time Picks feature to find the best tickets for the best price based on your search parameters. You can even see a view of the seat that you're looking to purchase and what it looks like in the arena. So go get with them. They guarantee you the best price, whether it's from their last-minute ticket deals, their section selector, or any other way. If you find tickets cheaper somewhere else, they'll reimburse you 110% of the ticket price. And it's not just sports. You can go to concerts, theaters, and more with Game Time. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time today. Download the Game Time app and use code DNVR to get $20 off your first purchase. Of course, terms apply, but use that DNVR code for $20 off. Tap, ticket, go. Download the Game Time app today. And once you got your tickets, you're probably going to have to drive on the roads at a time when the sun is setting, especially if you live east of the arena for me and I'm driving in at 5 p.m. right into the sun. That's where Shady Rays comes in. Their polarized sunglasses are the best out there. Great to use anytime you're dealing with a little bit of sun trouble, driving, hanging out, playing kickball like I was the other night, or any other way. Shady Rays has you covered. And you don't have to be afraid to wear your sunglasses with Shady Rays. If you break them, lose them, or just don't like them in the first 30 days, Shady Rays will replace them entirely for free. So get with Shady Rays. They've got an exclusive offer just for us. If you head to shadyrays.com and use code DNVR, you'll get 35% off any pair of polarized sunglasses. Try for yourself. The shades rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people with Shady Rays. Second period of the DNVR Avalanche podcast. We have our 3 stars of the game to get to, starting with star number 3. By the way, chat, there's like 150 plus of you in here. 214. Get us to 100 likes, chat. I want to do my winner shots. All right. You're only at 53. Get us up there. I need my Dr. Dubs medicine. All right. Show me where it's at. Star number 3 went with Scott Wedgwood. And I know he had a bit of a quieter night. There wasn't maybe quite as many high danger chances that he really had to deal with tonight. But that's a direct bounce back for a guy who gave up 4 goals and maybe didn't have the greatest shootout the other day. Comes in and gives up exactly 1, makes 28 saves, right back on the horse, and gives you confidence that the outlier game is the one with all the goals given up.
Absolutely. No, this Scott Wedgwood looked exactly as he should have, I think, tonight. Last night, there were, I mean, you and I were talking about it, definitely some that maybe he wanted back in that game. This is exactly the kind of bounce back you hope to see from the guy who's going to be your starter for at least the next week. Yep.
You want him to keep it up. Get the, I don't know if I'm going to call it consistency, but if he's hot, ride it.
Yeah.
Don't absolutely let that heat cool off. And it's a great job, especially in games like this. When you have a goaltender playing well, you have the luxury of maybe you started a little slow. Maybe you had a slow period. If he makes 14 saves for you in that period, erases all of it.
Right.
So credit to Wedgwood being that guy in net again for the Colorado Avalanche tonight. Second star, I went with Val Nichushkin. He had an assist, even though I put a goal on the stats because I'm stupid. That's my bad. No, it's my fault. But Val Nichushkin is a very important part of the conversation when we're going to get into the second line conversation in this show. Because Val Nichushkin was really, really good tonight.
I really liked him tonight. I really liked him last night, too.
Yep.
If you're looking at, and we'll get into this in more depth, I definitely think he's the guy on the second line who's giving that line the most juice right now.
I 100% agree on that take. And then the types of plays that you want to see out of Nichushkin, obviously you want them to produce. But when you look at how that goal is created, Nichushkin hunting a puck through the neutral zone, reads a play, picks off a puck. That is created entirely by his defensive acumen. And then he makes a follow-up unbelievable play to be super strong on the puck and somehow find Kale on the back door there. Tough
Still
to
don't
stop.
know how that got through.
Tough to stop. If Val can make that play, they're going to score a lot of goals. So I did want to give some credit to the second line. And then the first star is an easy one tonight. Nathan MacKinnon, 2 goals, one of which he creates nearly single-handedly. Dog is barking.
Yep.
The other one, great job by Necas. I know you talked about it a little bit. We'll talk about him a little bit more too, but this is superstars. This is what superstars do. Oh, the Avs aren't having a great game. They need someone to put on the backpack a little bit. Nathan MacKinnon says, okay, I'm going to go do it. I'm going to go win this game for us.
Yeah.
And he can just do that because he's Nathan MacKinnon.
Which I think is a big, again, something you and I were mentioning about the Avs missing during the first game. Maybe even the second game as well.
Yeah, I
in
would
a way.
say so.
And I think this step up, it's exactly what you expect to see from your best line, from your best player.
Yep.
To be that energizer, to be the guy who's going to go out and change the tide of a game. That's what Nathan MacKinnon is supposed to do. And he showcased that he can tonight.
Yeah, the Avs fandom doesn't need reminders that he's that good. We get to watch it.
It's fun saying it, though.
Yeah.
It's fun talking about how good Nathan MacKinnon is.
And that's what you want to see, I think, most importantly, as a response to the Dallas game. Mm-hmm. We heard Nathan MacKinnon talk after the game and said, we played pretty well. I think we deserved to win that game, and it just didn't go our way. And you can respond to that with having a bit of a slack-off game.
Yeah.
Some of the Avs did. Mm-hmm. And Nathan MacKinnon said, no. We're not doing this year. We're coming back and we're winning the games that we're supposed to win.
That is a guy who was not satisfied with how Saturday ended.
Exactly. It's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
So those are our 3 stars. Obviously, plenty of other players to get to and talk about as well, but those ones stood out the most to me. Those are the 3 stars I picked for, I think, fairly obvious reasons, but other players to talk about here, including the rest of the point producers. We mentioned Necas, another multi-point night, this time on the assist side of things. Small sample size, but he is so far at 2 points per game this season average.
He's making it really difficult for contract conversations coming here in the next couple months.
That dollar amount isn't going down right now.
No.
I'll put it to you that way. But I think it's important to note how well MacKinnon and Necas have gelled together over the first part of the season. I know you've been pointing that out a lot. You have a lot of insight on what Necas looked like even before he was here in Colorado. And you were talking during the watch along about how much better Necas looks with the puck on his stick in Colorado this year.
His confidence has shot through the roof, in my opinion. The first couple months here, you could tell he was still kind of trying to fit in and get his groove a little bit next to a guy like Nathan MacKinnon.
Yeah.
Right now, this looks exactly how I expected it to look with some time to build some chemistry. I think their speed, they read off of each other so freaking well.
Yep.
And at that point, like we kind of talk a little bit about like getting different things out of different lines, maybe shaking things up a little bit and experimenting. That is one thing that I don't foresee the Avs experimenting with at all. Just given how well it has worked, both are just at 5-on-5 and on the man advantage. I mean, they are reading off of each other super well, and it's hard to justify moving something around when it's working that well. He looks confident. He's making good plays. His movement looks fantastic. He's shooting the puck a lot more, which I appreciate.
It's two-pronged for me with Necas. One, when he's playing with MacKinnon, he creates a lot of stuff with the puck on his stick that allows MacKinnon to be so much more dangerous off the puck. We've seen multiple setups come through where Necas is the puck carrier and MacKinnon kind of trails the play, sneaks into the zone, and all of a sudden Nathan MacKinnon is alone in the high slot because everyone is focused on a Necas or a Makar.
Yeah.
And MacKinnon hasn't had a ton of that in his career in Colorado. He's so good that even when he's double covered, he can make ridiculous plays and just make it happen. But
well, you see a situation during this game too where Necas has the puck and he's moving deeper into the zone, pulling a defender with him, leaving Nathan MacKinnon wide open, which is the most dangerous thing you could do in the offensive zone is leave that man wide open. And we've talked a little bit about danger and creating those dangerous chances both at 5-on-5 and on the man advantage. That's going to make the Avalanche really, really difficult to play against
and
this season.
That and just the raw pace. Everybody knows Nathan MacKinnon is a burner, and if he's coming down the ice on you, you got to be prepared. You're turning your feet and you're making sure he doesn't beat you. But while you're looking at Nathan MacKinnon, now it's Marty Necas streaking to the back post. Nearly had a goal tonight off of a Nelson feed where he just beats a guy on his feet to the back post. Can't quite finish it, but it's becoming part of the Avs' identity, I think, beyond just Nathan MacKinnon as, oh, these guys play fast. These guys have actual speed. And you know, Necas rather has always been a really good skater. Everybody knows that. But I think up and down the lineup, you're catching teams off guard with the willingness to turn the Jets on and go right to the net. And this goes beyond Marty. Cale Makar's goal. Yes, Nichushkin makes a great play, but Makar says...
He pushes into it and says, here I am.
Right. He goes to that space. It's a great play and everything connects and that's awesome, but there's not even an opportunity to do that if there isn't that skating ability.
Right. It comes down to a conversation of how multi-layered these players are becoming too. And I think that's the best thing a player can be. If you've got one thing to look out for from a player that makes them just that more dangerous, that's, I think, much easier to defend against than a player who can turn those Jets on and all of a sudden he's right here. And just like he can be just as dangerous standing right here as he can if he's zooming around all over the place. The
speed is just as effective away from the puck as it is with the puck on their sticks. So I do think it's, as you said, it's getting harder and harder to even consider breaking up MacKinnon and Necas. We can move into that second line conversation, though, because through a period and a half of this game, I really didn't like it. Yeah. I really thought they were struggling, but by the end of the game, things were okay. I'm more okay with it sitting here now after that third period than I was. And there's a couple of facets to that. One, I don't think this is Brock Nelson's best game, but he had that play with Necas that I mentioned on the power play that nearly results in a goal. And two, yes, he has the freak thing where it looks like he might have cut his hand. Turns out he's okay, thankfully. Injuries at center would be a disaster for the Avs. So good break there that he's okay. And then he gets back into the lineup. His first shift back, rough. Almost gives up a breakaway the other way. But they have a couple more shifts through that third period where it started to click. You can see it starting to connect in the offensive zone. You can see a little bit of that Landy give and go work, going to work. Obviously, Nichushkin was great all night, but I felt they were at a place that I could live with by the end of the game.
Absolutely. It's almost kind of a situation where you wonder if, like, Brock, you turn him off and back on again in that little period reset, that he's missing. And he looked like he finally had some juice eventually by the end of the third period. And that's what you hope for earlier on in the game. But if you're getting it, at least we're seeing it now. There's the, okay, this exists conversation to be had now. So there's really no excuse moving into a couple more games from now if we don't see that continue or at least show up more consistently.
Yeah. The other side of that is Landeskog as well, which I think the offense, for me, started to turn on for Landy when Nelson went out. Jack Drury stepped up for a couple shifts on that second line, and it kind of seemed like Landeskog, it clicked for him a little bit. He was like, okay, I need to step up and be a little bit more effective offensively for this line.
This is a guy, I think, who's taking a bit of a step back and stepping into I'm going to stand up for my teammates type role. I can throw a couple hits if need be, but there's other guys who can score, and that's not going to be me. Kind of, or at least that's what it looks like so far. You see that start to change a little bit. He's pushing a little bit more offensively, and I understand maybe some of the timidness to get more involved in certain ways, stick to what you're good at. But I think when that entire line is struggling, you need to be able to try new things. And it seemed like as soon as Nelson went out, Landeskog was kind of like, oh, crap, something needs to happen here. And that's what that turned into for me.
Now, if we can just get them to start in the first period like that in the next game, things will be great.
I'm saying, oh, my gosh, if you can see that so much earlier on. Again, we see a glimpse of that to start the third period. There is no excuse, at least in my book, for not seeing that at all here in the next couple of games.
It's got to come. It's got to come. Do need to take our second break of the show, so let's jump over and make sure we're doing that as We, of course, have our amazing sponsor in Coors Light. You can jump in with Coors Light if you saw me drinking them on the watch along. It's the way to go. When you're sipping on a Coors Light and enjoying an Avs game, there's nothing better. So make sure you're choosing chill when the moment is right with Coors Light. Coors is cold filtered, cold lagered, and cold packaged to make sure it stays fresh and gives it a smoother finish. You can get your Coors Light right now. You don't even have to get up. It's Monday and you're at work. You're on your way home. You can order Coors Light right to your front door thanks to CoorsLight.com/DNVR and Instacart. You don't have to stop at the store anymore. Coors Light will just show up for you. So make sure you're choosing chill when the time is right. Make the most of the times you choose to chill and choose Coors Light. Get it delivered right to your front door again at CoorsLight.com/DNVR. Of course, Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. Please drink responsibly. Once you got your ice cold Coors Light, you're enjoying an Avs W. Make sure you're also getting ready for a good lunch. It is right around lunchtime, depending on where in the country you are. Maybe it's getting close to dinner on the East Coast. I don't know. Get yourself over to Raising Cane's. Do game day the Cane's way. Whether you're tailgating or cheering from the couch, fuel your crew with Raising Cane's. We're talking hand-battered, cooked-to-order chicken fingers, crispy crinkle-cut fries, buttery Texas toast, and the MVP of every bite, the Raising Cane's sauce. Don't forget those jugs of freshly brewed tea and freshly squeezed lemonade to keep the squad refreshed. Big plays, big flavor. It's how Cane's does game day. So rally your team and make your next tailgate a touchdown. Raising Cane's chicken fingers. One love. Third period of the DNVR Avalanche podcast. There was a question somewhere in the Toyota chat talking about Landy's production this year. I'm not reading too much into anything. Obviously, no points through 4 games. You want more than that. But I don't think there's any reason to believe that Landy still can't be a 20-goal scorer, that he still can't be a 50-ish point guy for you.
I think this is kind of where I expected Landeskog to start off the season. He's been gone for 3 years, recovering, rehabilitating. But I think you put it perfectly. There's no reason to believe that he won't get on the board at least sometime soon, especially with the push we saw during the third period here today. There's opportunities for him there. But this is exactly what I expected out of him to begin the season. Kind of maybe not taking it easy per se, because we see the hits that he's putting on for the most part. I mean, at one point, I think in the last couple games, he led the team in hits, which I think is insane to think about for a guy who has been rehabilitating a knee for 3 years. But there's something to be said about him kind of managing himself as well. And again, there's no reason to believe he won't get there eventually.
When you're talking about a guy like Landy, do all the managing you want in October, November, December. Do what you have to do to be ready to go in March, April, May, June. That's what I care about.
Absolutely.
So, not something I'm too worried about.
Again, it's an experimental period, I think, for all 32 teams in the NHL. And if this is what the Avalanche are kind of holding off on and managing to start the first 10-game stretch, okay, cool. I'm perfectly okay with that.
So let's talk about the experiment again. I think we both feel okay with what the second line brought you by the end of that game. Mm-hmm. Do you consider throwing an Olofsson up there? Do you consider swapping something there? I know you talked about moving Nichushkin up to the first line in the pregame. Is that still something you want to do?
Still something I'd love to experiment with.
Okay.
If it doesn't work by the end of the 10-game stretch, move him back down. I'm totally, again, we were totally okay with what the second line did by the end of the game. I wouldn't mind seeing Olofsson on the first power play unit more regularly. I'd love to experiment with that a little bit because again,
Nelson does feel a little weird on that right side.
Yeah. Just not as crisp, I guess, is what I'm looking for. And I don't know. We talk about shooting the puck and that being the main issue with the first line. The movement looks good, and I think Nelson sort of helps with that a little bit. But that finishing aspect is really what you need from this team. Nelson's not quite there yet, and we haven't really seen that level that he's gotten to yet this season. If you're looking for a finishing guy, I'm not saying Olofsson's gotten there either, but that third line we've talked about multiple times looks incredible. And I'd love to see that experimented with on the first unit.
At times on the power play, Nelson feels a little bit stuck on that far wall because of just how much movement Mackinnon and Necas are creating on their side. McKinnon's rotating behind the net. He's rotating up to the bunker.
everywhere.
You see Nate just slide into the bumper. Now McKinnon's coming out high. And it feels like it locks in. This isn't even like a Nelson thing. Like if Olofsson was playing there too, it feels like you're kind of locked into that half wall spot and you don't have a lot of room for yourself. Which is why I want to see a shooter there, like an Olofsson, because you don't have to even necessarily be the goal scorer on that power play. You just have to represent enough of a shooting threat in the far circle that they have to respect it. And that opens up that extra 6 inches for MacKinnon to cut to the middle, or for Nate just to find the seam pass or whatever it might be.
Especially if Olofsson's getting those shots off, you've got a MacKinnon right there to pick everything up. So, I'd love to see that personally. But.
Same, I'm with you on that one. We did get over our 100 likes, so thank you very much, chat. We appreciate it. Dr. Dub's back in the building. Cheers. I saw a couple of Dr. Dub's emojis in chat from our supporters. We appreciate y'all. Here's the medicine.
There you go.
Whew. All right.
Beautiful.
Let's be honest. How much of this game is the Avs overcoming a slow start and taking care of business in the way they need to? And how much of this game is the Buffalo Sabres going away?
I think it's a healthy mix of both. Buffalo just did not look good tonight. I think that's the kind of bread and butter of it all, is you've got a guy or a team, they're missing their best goaltender due to injury. Your top guys maybe show up for 10 minutes of the game, 15 minutes maybe is generous.
Sure.
But this looked like this was a game that I wanted to see from the Avalanche, where they're taking advantage of having a not as talented opponent. I think it's, for me, is as simple as that.
This game screams execution to me. The Avs capitalize on some opportunities. Val Nichushkin's assist particularly, just a super opportunistic moment. And you watch the Buffalo Sabres chances fall to the wayside, where Tage Thompson misses a mostly open cage. The execution made the difference tonight in this game, in a similar way to how Dallas kept up with and ultimately beat the Avalanche on Saturday. Maybe didn't play your best game, but in the moments you needed to perform, the Avs did what they needed to do to beat the team in front of them.
Absolutely. It is opportunistic. They're as opportunistic as you needed them to be. I think. This wasn't a game that I expected them to get overly flashy in. You saw moments of it.
There were some.
There were a few, but this was not a game like the Star. I would definitely still say, for me, the Stars game was better. I liked their game during the Stars game a whole lot better. But being able to follow up with a game like this, where they're maybe not as flashy, but they're still opportunistic when they need to be. They're still pushing, capitalizing on their chances. The power play still looks like it's ready to go. The penalty kill still looks as shut down as it needs to be. This was a game that the Avalanche kind of needed to prove that they are playing the right way.
Well, and here, while I've mentioned the slow start a number of times, what I do think they got was a baseline out of their bottom six, who maybe they didn't flash the high-end skill like you're talking about, like we saw from MacKinnon, Necas and company. But every time you look up, forecheck, there's Gavin Brindley. There's Jack Drury. There's Ross Colton.
Gavin Brindley, I love bringing him up. He was everywhere tonight. You look, I think I need to look specifically for Gavin Brindley. He eclipsed 10 minutes.
Let's go.
Progress tonight.
Progress.
So that, I think, for a game that maybe wasn't as penalty heavy, there's still a bunch here and there for him to be able to push that 10. I think is speaking in and of itself of how much he's becoming respected on this roster, making it that much more difficult for the Avalanche to make a decision to send him down.
He's earning it, and it's not just. I don't want to knock on fourth line players, because fourth line players have one of the hardest jobs in the NHL.
Absolutely.
I couldn't do it in a beer league.
No.
No. I want to be clear about that. But I do think when you see Gavin Brindley, it's not just the energy, right? Yes, he has that in spades. He has the compete. He's willing to go to the dirty areas. He's willing to run into people, even with a smaller size guy. But then there's also the pops of, He has that chance in front of the net on his backhand. It doesn't go in, but there's enough danger there offensively that you can say, this isn't just a guy running around grinding. There's more to his game that pops to you that I'm going to have a really hard time taking him out of the lineup at going forward from here.
Yeah. No, this is a guy who has really high puck IQ. He not only has the energy, the tenacity, the grit to be pushing on players as much as he does, but he's positionally sound.
Yep.
He's making good plays with the puck. His passes look incredible. He's where he needs to be. And that's really, again, we talk about, what that role is on the fourth line is to be just, if your line is just okay and you're getting what you need out of your top three lines, that's all you can ask for your fourth line.
You're going to win.
This is more than okay for me.
I agree.
I don't know.
The other standout to me is Jack Drury, again, which he's been a standout all year so far, to be fair. But not only are all the little details of his game so crisp, not only is he doing his job effectively on the third line, he gets 3 shifts with the second line tonight because Brock Nelson is down the tunnel for 5 minutes. And all 3 of those shifts are some of the better second line shifts of the game.
This is the question I want to pose to you then, with all of the talk at the beginning of the season of him being a stretch for a third line center. Is that still the conversation now? Because to me, that answer is absolutely not.
I think he's locked it in pretty well through 4 games of this season. The whole third line has locked themselves in pretty well. We went from a conversation of, can Jack Drury do it, to yes, Jack Drury's doing it. I do think you probably, much like the second line, need to see Drury and Colton start producing actual points a little bit more, but they have some.
You saw some opportunities tonight.
Yeah,
I think.
you did. And right now, Victor Olofsson is the one carrying the point totals on that line. It comes from one of these plays is not with his third line ultimately, as he had a setup goal the other night with Brindley. But yeah, that third line is accomplishing everything the Avs wanted it to do so far this year.
Yep.
Are they perfect? No. But they're consistently getting into the craw of other teams and are a legitimate threat to other teams that if you give them time and space, we saw tonight, it didn't end up in the back of the net, but was it the first or second period where that beautiful puck movement between Olofsson and Colton and the defenseman, a great play to get them into the zone, set up and create a real opportunity. I'm hyperbolizing here, but last year it felt like the Avs third line at times would disappear for 5 to 10 games at a time. And I don't think the third line has disappeared yet this season. So
not at all. I think through 4 games, they are your most consistent line by a mile.
I would say that's accurate.
Really, if you're talking about defining the most opportunistic line on this team, I'd have to give it to this third line. They are making something out of nothing, creating chances, taking raw opportunities with mishandled pucks. And I really appreciate seeing that from them. You see the chemistry that they've already built, and that's something in and of itself to kind of applaud this early in the season.
So let's move to the back end then. Obviously, Cale Makar finally on the board with his first goal of the season. Not that he isn't producing, but
his game tonight.
He was flashing things a little bit tonight. Yeah. I almost wondered. He gets that penalty called on him in the first period that was straight up not a penalty. That guy's stick just broke. Makar barely touched it.
Again, you and I talked about it. Yeah. If that stick doesn't break, that penalty doesn't happen.
Never in a million years. And he looked a little fired up. He was shaking, shimmy, and moving. Some of those production points maybe not quite clicking, but he does get the goal. He does get involved in the offense. I'm not trying to turn this into a negative, but does it feel, it almost feels to me like the Avs defense has maybe lacked a little bit of production this season. Not Makar. Makar has 4 points, all good there, but Taves, no points on the season yet. Brent Burns, just a single point. Obviously, the loss of Girard hurts you with some of that puck-moving ability for production, but it was nice to see Makar get directly involved in a goal, and hopefully that can be a launching pad for the Avs D offensively.
You hope so, but if that's we talk about problems to have on this team, and if your forward lines are performing the way that they are, they can kind of compensate for some of that. you'd like to get Taves get on
You
to
would.
see him get
You
on the
would.
board a little bit earlier in the season. He, I thought, had an incredible season last season. A lot of game winners for this team. Played a really important role there. Brent Burns, I'm still kind of trying to figure out his role.
I think so is he.
So is he. I think there's still a little bit more of that, trying to figure out exactly how he fits into how this team moves. And a lot of that is hurting his game.
The Avs aren't making it any easier for him either, right? Like, whatever is going on with this Malinsky on the left side thing has now become... Good luck, Malinsky and Byrne.
Right.
You're both defensemen out there. Figure it out. I don't know what to tell you. Like,
You and I were like watching this game. I mean, you see Malinsky move to the right side, Burns move to the left side. It becomes a free for all out there, and you wonder how detrimental to wins and losses that can become, because that's not a very safe way, and at least in my opinion, to play. And with more positionally sound teams coming up here in the next couple of games, that could end up hurting them tremendously. And so that is something they absolutely need to figure out here in the next 5.
some stuff to clean up. For the record, Burns did get credited with a secondary assist as well. So there is a little bit more production there.
Yeah.
Solovyov, any thoughts on him tonight?
I thought he was good. I thought it was kind of a similar situation to the game in Dallas, where I notice him in times. He is a big body in the defensive zone, which I absolutely love. Puck blocking machine.
Yep.
Especially when you've got those cross passes coming in from the boards. I really loved certain situations with him tonight. Otherwise, through the neutral zone, he's not super noticeable for me. I would love to see it. And again, it comes down to defining roles. I wonder what that role will become for him here in the next couple games if he decides to, or at least rather earns his spot. I thought he was just okay tonight.
Yeah, I did notice him in the offensive zone a couple of times.
Yeah.
There is a certain floor as a defenseman for the Colorado Avalanche that you have to show up in the offensive zone. Yeah,
that's the expectation.
Yep. Avs as a team, by the way, 20 blocks tonight. Wow. A lot of players getting in front of pucks there. The leader on that list, Brock Nelson, with 4 block shots. Which I want to bring up because it's something important to note, and I talked about this a lot with last year's Avalanche team too. Not every night's going to be your A game.
No.
You're not going to play your best. I don't think this was Brock Nelson's best game by any stretch of the imagination.
No.
But you find ways to be effective when you're not playing your best game. Blocking 4 shots helps the team out on the defensive end of the puck. You find ways to get the puck going the right direction on a night where at times they have struggled with that. And you can say, okay, you're positively affecting this team even on a night where maybe you didn't love it.
I think that's the baseline.
Yep.
Right? Is if, as a forward who is on a line that has not been able to find that push yet, being able to block those shots and contribute at least something towards pucks not going in your own net, that's at least one thing to take away from tonight, is him saying, you contributed this. You did something good.
Yeah.
But from your second line center, that's not...
It's not
what you want.
You're not asking him to do that. You're asking him to score you goals, for sure.
I mean, that's good. Great. Okay. Thank you, Brock Nelson. But also, again, you're the second line center, and there's a little bit more contribution to be had there.
I agree. It needs to come. The offense needs to be there. It's what you're on the team to do, but at least you're finding ways to be effective, even if I didn't love his offensive game at times tonight.
I'd love to get your thoughts, too, on Josh Manson here tonight.
I love the version of Josh Manson the Avs are getting this year. The physicality is ramped up to 11 with him this year. He says, I'm going to run into everything. I'm going to crush everything. I'm the guy. They look up, they see me in the corner, and they go, you know what? Maybe I don't go get that puck this year. Maybe that's not the thing. And I love how much he's leaned into that, because there's a part of Josh Manson's game that you're just going to have to live with, where sometimes he does dumb stuff.
Takes stupid penalties here and there, and that's just Josh Manson.
That's part of who he's always been. You're going to live with that. But when he's giving you the physicality, when he's giving you that edge that you've gotten from him through 4 games this year, it's worth it. Full stop worth it from Josh Manson. And I love that is taking a little bit of the pressure off. You're in a weird situation with your D where you don't know what you're doing with Brent Burns on any given night. Malinsky's trying to learn the left side or he's bouncing around. Yeah. You have a Solovyov that barely has any NHL experience. And Manson's like, okay, I'll let the superstars go be superstars and I'll be the veteran defenseman that keeps things steady. Yeah, once a game I'm going to serve a puck to the middle of the ice and things are going to get crazy. But the other 17 minutes I play, teams are not going to want to run into me.
I'm kind of falling into this mindset where the Avalanche didn't really quite have a Josh Manson like Josh Manson looks right now.
I agree.
On the team last season.
I agree.
They did not have somebody who's immediately almost has that hit first mentality.
Yep.
And I think that's somebody that every team kind of needs in a way. And showing that off early, I think Josh Manson's fallen into that spectacularly.
And that willingness to stand up for each other showed up in this game too, right? Oh, yeah. The Nichushkin gets rocked by an interference penalty, and immediately Landeskog is up in that guy's face. We're not taking any guff. Yeah. This is not the Colorado Avalanche that are easy to play against but will score on you. This is the Colorado Avalanche that will score on you and then will punch you in the face afterward.
Score and then deal with it.
Yeah, exactly. Stop me if I'm reading too much into this.
Okay.
Again, it's 4 games. The Avalanche are top 5 in the league in faceoffs so far this year. Yes. I don't know what to do with my hands. This is not normal.
You and I talked about it too. And Nathan Mackinnon.
He's winning face. It's weird. It's weirding me out. I don't know what he finished. Specific. But yeah.
So he won 10 of 17. That's 58.8%.
That's great for Nathan MacKinnon.
And I made the joke earlier that this is a Jack Drury. The Jack Drury effect.
You're just teaching them all how to take face off.
Because Jack Drury, let me see, this was 63.6.
That's outrageous.
On the night. So I don't think it's something you want to get too excited about yet, just because it is 4 games into the season. But that's a positive. That's a plus. And if that only continues, that's just another facet to the multifaceted Colorado Avalanche.
Yeah,
I don't see how that's a fantastic stat to go into the second 10-game segment with.
I don't know how it happened, but I'm here for it. I'm absolutely the version of the Avs that win faceoffs. I will take. I do think, as long listeners of the show will know, how many of those faceoffs actually matter. Not that many. You win a bunch of neutral zone faceoffs. Who cares?
Right.
But we have seen this year on both ends of the ice. The Avs have a power play goal immediately off a faceoff win early in the season, and they've been scored on multiple times this year directly off of a faceoff. So they're not worth nothing.
No.
And the Avs actually being good at it creates opportunities for things like not starting the power play at 1:40 every single time because they lose the faceoff and the other team clears it immediately.
Right.
So.
Something to look forward to. It's definitely not a bad thing to have one of your, at least the best guy on your team performing that way in the face-off dot. Definitely not bad at all.
Always improving in unexpected ways, maybe even when you're at the top of the Colorado Avalanche lineup. Excuse me, we're getting into the last few minutes of the show here, but looking forward with this lineup. You had the Nelson scare. Thankfully, he's okay. I'm going to ask it every game until he gets in. What's it going to take for Bardakov to get in the lineup?
I don't see how you take Gavin Brindley out of there. Because
even
Jared Bednar mentioned it's Brindley or Bardakov.
Which I don't agree with as much, but yes, that is the way they're approaching it.
And so I don't see how, if Gavin Brindley is performing the way that he is, if this is the mindset they're going into, how you disrupt that at all. I think, unfortunately, and you never want to wish injury on anyone.
No, of course not.
That's what it's going to take for Bardakov to break into this lineup, unfortunately, at least until Logan O'Connor gets back. And then at that point, there's some other serious conversations to be had.
There's a world where it just gets even harder for Bardakov at that point.
Yeah.
Like, The
Like,
Avs
that's not
are-
even just a Bardakov situation
Right,
or conversation
right,
at that point.
Are you sitting Brindley? Are you sitting Kiviranta? What happens at that point?
So that's the unfortunate reality for Bardakov, which is, again, it sucks because he did go into a lot of training camp expecting to have a spot on the starting roster.
Yep.
And to play opening night. And that unfortunately is just not the case. But seeing what the Avalanche have gotten out of Brindley so far, seeing that Parker Kelly is maybe not the best at the center position, but he's performing.
Yep.
And he's playing okay. He's doing what I expect a fourth line center to kind of do and contribute in a way. But I don't see how this becomes a positive situation for Bardakov without an unfortunate
I don't
situation
disagree
for the
with
team.
you. It's just wild that we're in this room. It's a good problem to have for the
Yeah.
Avalanche with those depth options.
Yeah.
Tiff, do you have the 10-game schedule to pull up? No? That's okay. We don't necessarily need it. Avs are 3-0-1. They've gotten a point in every game they've played. They're on their first road trip here. There are some beatable teams coming up in the schedule for the Colorado Avalanche.
Just looking at the 5 coming up.
Sure.
We've got the Columbus Blue Jackets, which they'll finish out the road trip
Yep.
with. The Boston Bruins. Avalanche will
Beatable.
go back on the road to play the Utah Mammoth, and then the Carolina Hurricanes come into town. And then you finish off your series with the Boston Bruins on the road.
So, I mean, realistically, how many of those teams are expected to make the playoffs this year? Carolina. Obviously. Maybe Utah's a bubble
I think
team.
Utah's a wild card contender.
So the
I'll
Avs,
put it that way.
The Avs could be poised to go on a pretty good run. I know Boston has actually started the season well here, but is that really going to last?
I was
Come
going to
on.
say how long
Come on.
until the hockey gods say no more.
Yeah, exactly. But I do think there is opportunity here. The Avs could really set themselves up well. We could be a week from now talking about how they're 6-0-1 or 5-1-1, and really, I don't know about in the driver's seat. Obviously, there's other teams in the Central that are likely going to win a lot of their games, but compared to a year where the Avs were 8 points in the hole immediately last season, we're talking about them maybe being 2 or 4 points above everybody else.
I think for Jared Bednar, who does kind of process the season in 10-game segments, there's nothing to be upset about so far.
Yep.
With how this team has started, especially if the measuring stick is last season.
Yeah.
And the way they started things.
Yep.
And that in and of itself is something I think this team should be proud of, and makes I think it's a little scary for other teams coming in who they're like, oh, we're playing the Colorado
The
Avalanche.
Avs might be a wagon.
Yeah. So there's something to be said there.
Yep. It's set up well.
Yep.
I don't say that a lot about the Avalanche schedule. Now, they, of course, still have to go out and take care of business night in and night out.
Mm-hmm. I think there's dangerous aspects to every single team
Of
that
course.
they're facing here.
It's the NHL. Any
Yeah.
team can win on any night. Don't
Right.
make a mistake about it. But Colorado is in the best spot to start a season that they've been in a while.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, how much does that mean? They started their cup run year 4-5-1. It's not
Yep.
like they were super hot out of the gates,
No.
but for a team that so often makes things harder than it has to be, it feels like this year Colorado might give themselves a little bit of an easier time in the standings.
Yeah, which is something that I think fans especially can be, kind of breathe a little easier here at altitude and deal with a little bit better. No, I do think, while I maybe don't love a hot start just because I am superstitious and, sometimes
That makes one of us.
that can spell a little bit of disaster sometimes down the stretch. I do like it for the sake of confidence heading into at least the next 5.
And I saw a couple people say this in the Toyota chat. I don't think you'll be able to find it, but it does not feel like Colorado has put it all together yet. You're
No.
still waiting on that second line. You're
Yeah.
waiting for more production out of your power play. There's a couple of other pieces you would like to click on the defense. And they're 3-0-1.
This
So-
team is not perfect by any means
Right.
yet.
So there's a lot more ceiling to give there, and you have gotten a point out of every single game so far this season.
Absolutely.
It's a good place to be. We do have a couple of super chats to get to, and then we'll get out of here as we are in about 20 seconds here headed to overtime. Make sure you continue the conversation online with DNVR.com. Looks like it's 2 from DJ, $2 and then $5. Who says, these early games rock on the East Coast, but it makes me bungle the super chat. Hashtag day drinking, hashtag Dr. Dubs, hashtag lockup Natchez. I can get down with all of those hashtags right now. This is the place to be. Any final thoughts, Bailey, before we wrap this one up?
No, I do think the Avalanche need to be very careful not to get too comfortable.
Very true.
Columbus is a team that was very, very close to making playoffs in the Eastern Conference last year. So they're a team that can be dangerous at times, and I think that's something to watch out for as the team kind of gears up to come back home.
You got to earn it every single night. There's no freebies in the NHL. The Avs showed that to the Buffalo Sabres on this one. So
absolutely. That's
going to do it for the DNVR Avalanche postgame. We hope you all enjoyed. There will be plenty of more content this afternoon and evening. Go check out AJ's Peaches. Consider becoming a diehard today. We'll have more content on YouTube as well. We appreciate y'all. This has been the DNVR Avalanche postgame show presented by Bet365, and we will see you for an off-day show tomorrow.
We all silly like the mayor.